It's the big show coming up on Saturday night here on Eastlink Community TV. Brett Kissel is going to be live from the Rath-Eastlink Community Center. Hey.
Well, thank you very much for your East Coast hospitality.
Great to get a
Man, I love being here.
Fred. Truro, you've got two shows. We've got you on Saturday night. You're playing on Friday night as well.
That's right.
It's for the first responders. It's a big event to get things out. What's the inspiration to get out into Truro and have a massive event?
Well, for me, I mean, there's the hometown heroes, everybody in this province who have made this province tick and work over the lockdowns and the shutdowns of the last couple of years. It's really important to honor the sacrifice of the entire community. Also, it's the 10th anniversary of the Rath-Eastlink Community Center. So with all that being said, this all really came together in such a special way. Also, one of my best friends is Kevin Bushy, who's one of the lead organizers there at the RECC. So when we were talking out in Prince Edward Island about doing a very similar event there for first responders and hometown heroes, he said, we should do this in Truro. And I said, absolutely we should. And it ended up being two packed houses. Like, you can't write this stuff. It couldn't have gone over any better. It's really special.
We're so excited to have it live here on Eastlink on Saturday night, of course. Yeah. Now, it is an interesting compass project where you have one album that is pointed east.
Yes.
And east comes from standing on Peggy's Cove, and you want to capture that spirit. What was it about the East Coast that really inspired you for that part?
Well, my very first visit to the East Coast was actually in St. John, New Brunswick in 2006. So I was nominated for a Canadian Country Music Award, and I went out there and I just loved looking at the Atlantic Ocean. Now, I've been very, very lucky to now travel to all of the maritime provinces. And my love for Nova Scotia especially is so strong. My wife and I have been here so many times. Our children have been here. We love the city of Halifax. We love the hub, which is Truro. So because of that, we wanted to, in this Compass project, as you point the needle east, I wanted to really capture the spirit of the East Coast, which are the great singer-songwriters that come from this part of the world. And so I've got a lot of acoustic songs, love songs, that perfectly blend this special relationship between lyric and melody. And that's what East Coast music is all about. So there are some Celtic vibes to some songs, but really it's just this overall feeling that you really only get when you're here and surrounded by the great music of the East Coast.
When you're talking East Coast musicians, who are some that come to mind that you're influenced by?
The Rankin family,
okay.
Like number one. I've written a lot with Gordie Sampson as well. Love Gordie Sampson, but the Rankin family up, in Mabou, like. I've looked up to Jimmy Rankin as a songwriter and as an entertainer. This guy performs better than anybody else. And so watching him over, the course of my career has been very special. But the purity of the voice of the Rankin girls, I can't get enough of it. And my kids love the Rankin family so much. We listen to their music. If they've seen a spike in streams on Amazon and YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music, it's thanks to the Kissel family out in Alberta listening to North Country and the Mull River Shuffle, and it's really special.
Now, you started your first album when you were 12.
Yeah. You
have 4 kids now. How much musical talent do you see maybe coming out of the future generation of the Kissels?
It's unbelievable to see. How much they love music. And I'm very, very careful because you read these biographies or hear these stories of parents in sports who can really push their kids into sport, yet that's not really what they want to do. But at the same time, you talk to Keith Tkachuk, he's a great hockey player, now he's got, Brady and Matthew, and that's all they ever wanted to do is play hockey. Well, now I can safely say that I have not pushed my kids into music whatsoever. They just love the spirit of music, and it just flows through their veins. I know it. And so when we're singing, my daughters and my son, we've got 4 children, and our youngest he sings along. He doesn't know what words he's saying yet. He's only 1. But when the big 3, I call them Leo and Aria and Mila, stand on the coffee table the way that I used to as a little kid, singing Gillis Mountain, or I'm heading back to the North Country, and I just look at it. I can't believe that this is true. It's so special.
Brett, I love to hear it. Look, we got about 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
Bad for Bedard. It's a hockey game that this on, so give us a rundown on Bad for Bedard, where that inspiration came from.
James Duthie. He's the guy. So during what was it?
Trade Center.
Yeah, Trade Center. They're talking about the deadline. He says, "Hey, I wrote this song called Be Crappy for Connor, Be Bad for Bedard," and he says, "I want to know if you'd cover it." And I said, "Absolutely, I will." And it got a lot of traction on Twitter. People loved it and people hated it, but I don't care. That's Twitter for you. Well, Pretty fun.
You've got your fingers crossed for the Oilers to end up with Bedard, but I don't think that's happening. We're going to see that move forward.
But we'll win the Cup this year.
Yep.
And you heard it here first.
There's the proclamation. All right, Rath-Eastlink Community Center. It's going to be live on Eastlink Community TV Saturday at 9.
Saturday night.
Brett Kissel.
Hey, thanks
again.
Mavs.
Thanks again, partner, as they would say.
Thanks, dude.